if you're not looking at regenerative farming, if you're not looking at taking care of your planet, if you're not looking at bringing back to the soil what it has given us, I'm sure that it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to continue producing coffee in the same farm that you or your family has owned for generations.
This episode is proudly brought to you by Mapper Forward's workshop, It's Time to Become a Coffee Consultant. Learn how to diversify your revenue streams and create freedom from your day job while saying goodbye to that alarm clock forever by becoming a consultant within the coffee industry or directly to consumers who have shifted towards home brewing and home roasting. Protect your income from challenging times in the coffee value chain by taking this course today. Go to mapperforward.coffee/workshops or click the link in the show notes for details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is unfortunately episode 5 of an awesome 5-part series with Ana Donneys from Cafe Primitivo in Colombia, in Quindio, Colombia. We're talking about the current situation in coffee from the perspective of a coffee farmer. That coffee farmer is Ana, of course. And we've covered a lot in this series, but in the hope of ending on a hopeful note, not that it wasn't hopeful, I think this was quite a hopeful series, this one. We're going to talk about what the future is for I guess, from this moment. So, Ana, from your perspective, what does the next 10 years look like for you as a Gen Z that is going into like the future of what you want to do for the rest of your life?
So I have, usually I am very optimistic. I told you that before.
Yeah, we had that conversation.
Because I believe, I don't know, maybe sometimes people call me naive. I might be very naive,
No.
but I wanna have that hope of a better future. But I really feel like the next years we're gonna have a growth in demand. I mean, growth in demand, I don't think it's gonna end. People are wanting better coffee. People are final consumers are wanting to know where what they are consuming comes from, the story behind it. I feel like every day more and more people that are not in coffee start to learn about it and start to differentiate good from bad coffee. And once you drink good coffee, you're not coming back. So I really want to think about the growth in demand of good coffee not stopping. And but on the other hand, we have all these climate threats that we have talked about. It's not a secret that we're going to have a big impact on the global supply. Every year, we're going to have less and less product to offer. And only those producers or only those farmers that are taking care of their farm and are trying to give back to the soil what it has given us during all these years, generations. I think those are the only farms that are gonna have the ability or the capacity to keep on producing coffee. But at the end, it will be we'll have a lot of pressure in prices, if not enough. But
how big a role do you think regenerative is going to play in this next 10 years?
It's going to be huge. I feel like that's the only way of doing farming if you see yourself farming coffee or producing coffee in the next years. If you're not looking at regenerative farming, if you're not looking at taking care of your planet, if you're not looking at bringing back to the soil what it has given us, I'm sure that it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to continue producing coffee in the same farm that you or your family has owned for generations. That's not going to keep working for us. I I think 5 years, like 5, 6 years, like climate change or things are changing so fast that, you know, 40% less harvest. Next time it could be 60 or 80. And then suddenly you just have no crops. You have no yield.
We haven't talked about the volatility that is happening on the other side of the supply chain, the consuming end of the supply chain. We also haven't talked about the volatility of the consumer. And you mentioned there that the consumer is starting to care more about where their coffee is coming from. Over the next 10 years, from the perspective of a coffee producer, how are you looking at that other end of the supply chain?
Well, as I said, I'm very optimistic. I really feel like every year more and more people are learning from like all what comes before they have their cup of coffee at the end. How many hands have to work to get there. And I feel like at the end, people are starting to realize and to give the value to all the work that we do here at Origin. And not only at Origin, but all the hands that have to work for it to be served in a cup of coffee at the end. And it's still very low. I know that it's not even 10%. I know we're like in 8%. I'm not sure. But I feel like every year is a little bit more and growing, and it's growing. And I feel like in 10 years that we're going to have consumers that are more, I always say this in Spanish, but it's something that I really believe. It's consumers are more informed, are more conscious, and want to learn more. So I feel it's our responsibility too, not only for roasters, but for us from here. Like you guys look at my I don't know, Instagram or whatever,
your
Cafe
socials.
Primitivo, we're always trying to show what we do, our daily work, the effort and everything. And it's a way of showing consumers what do we do and try to make them conscious of all the work behind it. So I'm not sure if that's prices that are going to go super high, but I guess at the end they will have to pay more for the coffee. Like I don't think prices are going to stay as low as it has been for decades or generations.
No chance.
That's going to change. That's going to change. I don't feel like my generation is going to continue working to lose money or to just pray and ask God to help us not to lose money this year. I feel like we want to know, we know our cost and we know the price. We want to value our work and our product. So I feel like this is a new generation that's going to change, and everything's helping. Climate change is helping. And volatility kind of it's helping because it's putting everything in its place. That's what I feel.
And I think you're doing something that is very different than the generations that came before you, and you are demanding your worth. You know, it makes me wonder, like, do you think that if things turn into the future, let's say that somehow by some miracle there is an influx of coffee and the price drops, what does that look like for a coffee producer like you who has decided that you will claim your worth from this moment forward?
That's why for us it has been very important to create relationships, and
right,
I feel that's the only way.
That's your safeguard, right?
Yes, if in the future that happens, at the end I'm not only doing business with another person on the other side of the world whom I've never seen, and there's only a contract between us, but now I feel like we have friends, or it's like you're
conspiring to each other's success.
Exactly. And we're building a real relationship where we care for each other. So for me, if that happens, that might happen. but I feel like I've been building these connections that will help me in the future if that happens. So.
And there are some indicators in the market that we haven't spoken about on the podcast before, but are really important if we're looking at what the next 10 years looks like. Big industry is giving us some indicators that are important signals for us to be able to pick up on. And a great example of that is the contract that Luckin recently signed with Brazil. Have you heard about this?
No.
So Luckin, for the life of me, I wish I could remember the amount that it was for, but it was for a couple of $100 million worth of coffee over the next couple of years. So they booked 2 years worth of contracts with Brazil, and they signed them and locked them in at about $250, I believe. Mm. And this is really important for people to understand, because the signal that sends is that Luckin believes that the price isn't going below $250 for 2 years. And they believe that $250 is a good price to pay up front for. So imagine that. Imagine the other half to that story is that Starbucks, who is Luckin's biggest competitor, are trying to find a local partner in China to buy their market sector. So the indicators that are coming from big business are indicators that we should all be paying attention to if we understand how to read, just what the market fundamentals are. When a company like Luckin books years in advance, it says two things. The two things that it says: number one, it needs to lock in the price. Number two, it's really worried about supply. And that's not the kind of signal that is telling you that what's happening right now is going away anytime soon. It's just not. And so if you also want to look further into that, Luckin has now secured a significant market share of the supply out of Brazil that you now won't get access to. Just think of what that's going to do to supply and demand. They've booked it up front. Every coffee producer listening to this should be smiling. If they have coffee. If you have coffee. And this is why we are really pushing ahead with regenerative ag education. Regenerative ag is your best chance over the next 10 years and beyond of making sure that if you are a coffee producer, you will continue to grow coffee long into the future. And hopefully by the time this airs, the on-demand version of our regenerative ag workshop is up and ready for you to buy. If you're a coffee producer, it's $10. If you are not a coffee producer, it is $20. So, and there will be an option there for you to buy, pay tickets forward on behalf of coffee producers. But what's important for you to understand, if you're a coffee producer and you're using conventional practices, you're putting an end to the runway on your business. From everything that the professors have told me, it's just not going to work. So if you were to make a prediction about 10 years from now, what are some of the predictions that you would make about the industry? But I'm going to ask you that from a different perspective. I want you to pretend that you're not an optimist and you're not a pessimist. I want you to pretend that you're a realist.
Okay.
What do you predict about the producing end, the middle part of it, and the consuming end? What do you think happens in those three different parts of the industry?
Okay. Arabicas are gonna be almost
extinct?
impossible to find. Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because diseases and climate change is just making very hard to grow Arabicas. You need to have varieties that are
Rust
that do not get
resistant?
those diseases. Yes, resistant. That's the word. Thank you. So it's gonna be very hard to find those cups that we love, those floral notes, those all these optimistic and beautiful cups that we find are not gonna be easy. And if you find those, are gonna be just like the very, 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 very high price. I feel like a lot of the farms are gonna, the ones that are gonna continue in coffee, we're gonna see a lot of Robusta.
You see, I have
do
a
you think
problem
so?
with that one. Everyone keeps telling me Robusta's the future, Robusta's the future. And the folks at South India Coffee Co. have been doing a bunch of analysis. And what they've found, I believe, is that Robusta steals the water. Robusta needs a lot of water. So if we're in La Nina and you're growing Robusta, I think that will be fine.
Okay.
But if and again, like, I'm not an agronomist. I'm just going off the things that people who are farmers and agronomists are telling me. But I guess if we're in a drought, isn't the Robusta going to be a problem?
It is going to be a problem. I mean, if you're saying it needs a lot of water, but still, if we find coffee, I think it's going to be Robusta. Let's leave it like that.
Okay, perfect. So that works.
Very high prices, and I can't even imagine to see it. And I really love to see it in a positive way. But that's the truth. And at the end, I feel like this generation of farmers are going to ask for its value. We're not gonna. Wait, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to actually ask you something about the farmers with regards to this. Are we going to see more farmers opening roasteries and cafes?
100%.
That's what I thought.
I mean, we know. I mean, we're learning. I told you before me, 4 generations growing coffee. We never roasted our coffee. We didn't know what it tasted like. I feel like we're going faster than it took on the other side, or the northern side, or on the consuming countries, because we have all this information. We have digital information, we have internet, and we are getting more knowledge, and we're learning faster, I guess, because of the tools we have. Ooh.
It's okay.
Is it okay?
Yep.
Okay. And so now we're going to transform it, and I see it every year. Colombia is exporting more and more roasted coffee to other countries. We're able to export 50 kilos and beyond with no problem of roasted coffee, and this is growing. Year by year, it's going 2 digits.
Wow, double-digit growth.
Farmers that are roasting its coffee and then selling the roasted. And so it says we are growing, processing, roasting, and delivering it in your house.
Wow.
This is something that is growing, and is something that is helping, of course. And it's new generations looking for us to be more sustainable. And cost here is a little bit less. Not a little bit. Our cost of a lot of things is less here, so we can make it more profitable doing it at origin. So,
and is local consumption increasing?
Yes, it's increasing, and it's increasing in specialty, which is amazing. At least here in Quindio, where I'm from, we have lots of cafes. specialty cafes. When you go to every cafe, they will always tell you this comes from this farm. This is the story, and like
Amazing.
we are working on it and we're doing our job. So I feel like that's one of the things that makes me feel positive. But on the other side, being realistic. There's a lot of things against it, of course, that we can't stop. But at least we're working and hoping a lot of the people will react and will. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping. Like we're talking about all these threats, but nobody's doing like what we need to, what we got.
The urgency isn't there.
Yes, exactly. But I guess this year or this couple of years will bring the urgency more clear, and people will start changing. But for as on the farming side, it will be taking care, regenerative, looking for those direct connections or relationships. That's what it's the future for me. For those that are just going with the flow and just looking at what's going to happen, oh, price went up and then, oh, price went down. For those, it's going to be very hard because they're not taking into account all the threats that are coming, not only on the climate change, but in everything, currency, politics, transportation, logistics, everything is just going crazy. So we need to think ahead of that.
Do you think that, no, let me ask it this way. How long do you think it's going to be before we find some kind of stability? Can you see it?
I feel like after every shake or every hard moment, the market, I always say the market is very intelligent. So it will have to stabilize. I feel like the way we do coffee, the way we do, business has to change. The way we put a price on everything has to change. The way we value things will change. And that will come after that urgency that we just talked about is evident. And a lot of farmers will get will have to change without even, or just will lose their farms, or will just not, they will have just soil that will not work. Their farms will just not be able to grow coffee. On the other side, roasters or people at consuming countries will get out of business, I guess, or they will have to change. And at the end, I guess the market will stabilize and we will have to change. And for me, it's going to be through relationships. But
that's the theme of this series. Relationships.
I'm sorry.
It's a great theme. Don't be sorry. It's the point, right? Like as we go back to your abuelito, coffee is about community. Coffee is about relationships. And, you know, he's not wrong. We haven't honored that though. And I think the big market correction here is that we have not honored the spirit of the intention behind what coffee producers were saying when they were subsidizing the prices. We're happy to do this for the amount of time that's required to help the other end of the supply chain. And the other end of the supply chain took advantage of it.
Yes.
And now balance is restoring itself. And I'm not someone who has very much faith in markets, but this is one of those things where balance is finding itself. And I think it's really beautiful to see you living your abuelito's legacy through this idea of relationships and building your business model off it. Like, if there's anything anyone's taking away from this series about you, it's that the most important thing to you is relationships. And I think you'd probably be really proud of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I like that we kind of wrapping up this series, reintroducing your abuelito into the whole thing. It's nice, huh? So you don't have any coffee left, but if people do want to follow you so that, let's say next year they do want to get in contact and ask for samples and all that kind of stuff, where can people find you online?
Yes. Well, our Instagram is Cafe Primitivo, and my personal is Ana Donneys. It's very easy to find. Or our website. It's www.cafeprimitivocolombia.com. And you can find me in any of those places.
Perfect. We will have links into the show notes below. Anna, this has been amazing. It just has been so wonderful to have a conversation with you. I appreciate your time, and I love that we have met.
Yes. No, Lee, thank you. I mean, having this conversation, I feel like it's very important to have it. I'm not an expert in any of these topics. I'm just a producer learning, trying to do it better, trying to plan ahead without all the information, but trying to get it. And I want to thank you so much, because having it makes me clear my mind and kind of feel happy that we're having this space, and that other people can listen to this topic, and that it's finally our time as producers, kind of, to we're having the tools, having the information, and to try to work together as a whole.
You're far too humble. I think that's a whole reason why you are as successful as you are. Now, as we wrap up this series, we have a little tradition here at Map It Forward. And the tradition is that in the last episode, you'll sign us off with peace, love, and peanut butter. Will you be able to do that for us?
Okay. So I said, what? Can you repeat it?
Peace, love, and peanut butter.
And peanut butter. Okay.
Can you do that for us?
Yeah. So thank you, everyone, for listening to all these episodes. Peace, love, and peanut butter for everyone.
Have an amazing rest of your day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward.